welcome to a new episode of the Bobbles Berries Podcast. If you're new here, my name is Ode and I'm coming to you from Edinburgh in Scotland. It's been once again a very, very long time since my last episode, but I'm so happy to finally be able to record a new episode and to share my knitting with you. It's going to be just your normal podcast episode. I'll talk about some finished objects. Obviously, I'm not going to share, well, I guess I'm going to share most of what I've done in, I think maybe like 5 or 6 months since I last recorded. And it's not that much, and I'll explain why in a minute. And then I also have some whips that I would like to share with you, a couple of acquisitions because I went to a yarn festival, and then some of the books that I've been reading lately. So grab a cup of tea, warm beverage, you're knitting, and we're gonna get started. Before I get into the knitting, I just wanted to quickly touch on why I've been away for so long and what's been going on, and also talk a little bit about my shop, because again, if you're new here, I was making stitch markers for knitters. That was my job, and a lot has happened in that area of my life. So yeah, if you're not interested, I'll have like timestamps at the bottom of the video, and then you can just jump into the knitting. Fair enough. But yeah, basically the reason why I've been kind of away or absent from YouTube and haven't been making stitch markers recently, and been pretty much absent from Instagram as well, is because sadly I suffered from a somewhat severe burnout, and I was just exhausted and I couldn't really do anything. I didn't have the motivation to do anything. I couldn't even, I barely knit because, I don't know, it was good for me to have something to do with my hands, but I just didn't really find any joy in it anymore. And yeah, so this got, I worked so much last summer all the way through to November, December last year. And then I took a break, or I was planning to take a break for Christmas, and I kind of just crashed and realized how burnt out I was really. I just worked too much and I was exhausted. I was exhausted physically, mentally, emotionally. I was just completely exhausted. At that time, I knew that my business of making stitch markers had become quite unsustainable, and I'd already made plans to change that and to start a new career as an illustrator, which is something that I've actually really been wanting to do for a very long time. It's kind of the job that I've always wanted to do, and it just didn't really happen for one reason or another. So I touched on that in my last episode, which was in January, I think. And I just want to say thank you so much for all your kind and encouraging and supportive comments. It's really meant a lot. And the idea was that I would take a short break from making stitch markers to start developing my illustration business, and then I would reopen my shop to do one or maybe a few final shop updates before I closed it for good, and then focused entirely on illustration. Unfortunately, in December, January, February, I couldn't do anything. I was so exhausted. I just couldn't do anything. And so I just tried to rest. This is what I did for a while. I tried to rest, tried to think what to do next. And yeah, things are better now. I'm not 100% back to normal, I guess, or whatever the new normal is going to be, but I'm doing a lot better. I have started working on my illustration job and illustration projects again, and that's been great. I've really been taking it one step at a time. I'm really mindful not to burn myself out again, obviously. So I'm doing what I can, and yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with the illustration, and it's going all right. And however, I've had to make some decisions, and one of them is that I'm not gonna reopen my stitch markers shop at all. I know I'd said I would do at least one, maybe more final shop updates, so that before I close the shop, people who wanted to get stitch markers had a chance to. However, I just can't do it. So I'm really sorry. I know a few of you have been waiting, and I'm really sorry. I just can't do it. So yeah, that's the end of an era, I guess. The stitch markers are done. My little shop is done. It's a bit bittersweet because I know it wasn't sustainable, and eventually, like, ultimately, it was a major part of the reason why I burnt out. But initially I did really enjoy making them, and I really enjoyed, like, I know so many of you really enjoyed having them, and so it makes me a bit sad in a way that this is in the past now, but I'm still very happy that I did it, and I'm very grateful for the experience of doing this, and it's allowed me to really be a part of the knitting community in more than a knitter, I guess, and being on also the business side of thing. And I've met some wonderful people, and it's been like really, really great experience. But yeah, it can't continue, I guess. And now that I'm in this new job as an illustrator, it's so much better for me. I love it so much more. It's so much more varied. And yeah, it just feels like that's really what I'm meant to do in a way. I don't know, it sounds cheesy maybe, but it feels that way. So yeah, so that's basically what's happening. I'm sorry that I'm not going to be able to make any more stitch markers. I'm sorry to the people who were waiting to be able to purchase some. I'm glad so many of you were able in the past to get some and have been enjoying them. And yeah, the podcast, hopefully now that I'm feeling a bit better and that I guess knitting is just a hobby for me, I think the podcast hopefully will resume a bit more regularly because I'm enjoying knitting a bit more as well. Like it was kind of scary. I'd really lost the joy of knitting, and yeah, it kind of scared me a little bit, but it's back now. So hopefully, yeah, I'll be able to podcast more regularly. And then if you're interested, I'll keep you up to date every now and then with what I'm doing as an illustrator. So yeah, that was a bit of a ramble, but that's basically what has been going on. And I'm going to get into the knitting now. If you're curious at all about what I'm doing as an illustrator, I'll put a QR code or something on the screen so you can have a look. I have a website, I have an Instagram account, I also have another YouTube channel that is more about day in the life, week in the life, vlogs type of thing. If you're interested in that. And yeah, I've been writing stories. What I would like to do primarily as an illustrator is to do picture books, even though I take on a lot of different projects at the moment. But I really love picture books, and I love writing stories and illustrating them. So I have been doing that in the form of a storybook mail club. So you can just have a look if you're interested. But let's get into the knitting. I'm going to start with my finished object. Like I said, I didn't knit very much over the past few months, but I did knit a little bit. I just needed something easy, just something mindless, but something to keep my hands busy, because if my hands are busy, then my brain is not going crazy. And so what I've been making is hats, and I've really been enjoying that. Actually, I have this hat. They're all the same actually. I made 3 or maybe more. They're the Tin Can Knit basic beanie, basic rib beanie. Let me see. Basic beanie. And I have these 3. They're all for me, so they're all in adult size medium, but they're all different weights. So it's one of those great patterns where you have one patterns, but then you have instructions for a lot of different yarn weights, and also a lot of different sizes. So that's what I meant. So a lot of different yarn weights and a lot of different sizes, from I think newborn to adult large. So that's been really good. So I've been doing adult medium because it fits me quite well. It's also rib, so it's very stretchy. So I have this one, which I think I was probably working on the last time I recorded. This is in Durum Natura Cyrano, maybe? No, Gilead. In Durum Natura Gilead in the shade Amarante. It's like a really nice, like purpley red like raspberry maybe kind of color. Then I also have this one, and for this I used leftover Kinross 4-ply. I'd used it for, I'd made mittens and a headband, and I had about 100 grams left. So I used some of it for this, and I still have a little bit. This is the yarn band. And this was as it says, a 4-ply. This is the shade Scots Spine, but I held it double to make it a DK. This is also a DK. And I think this, and I think this is also a DK. This is Hillesvag yarn. It's called Shawl or Soul, I don't know. This is what the band looks like. And this is the shade 58423. So yeah, I followed the pattern to the letter. I didn't really think hard about it. I just did what it said. It was really mindless. It's really quick actually, especially those are DK, but if you go into the Aran weight, it's really, really quick. So as a last minute gift, it's quite a good idea. And yeah, obviously I'm not wearing them now. I'm not actually wearing any knitwear today because it's too warm for that, but I'm looking forward to wearing them in the winter. And I think this is a very good way, I find this is a very good way to use leftover yarns, like when you have a bit of yarn left over, because I think for this one I used about 80 grams, or when you have that one like single skein of yarn that you don't really know what to do with it. This one was about 60 grams that I used because it's a lighter DK, I guess. The Durham is also very plump as a yarn, so it's a bit heavy. And then, yeah, this one is a bit heavier because I used yarn held double, but it's really soft and it fits really nicely. I've made some for my husband as well in the adult large size to use up like leftover yarn that I had from sweaters I've made him, and he wears them all the time. And he really enjoys the fit as well, again, because it's a rib, so it fits really well. So that's one of the things that I've worked on and finished. And the other one is a pair of mittens. And these are, let me just show you the pattern. The pattern is from this book, Salt and Timber by Lindsey Fowler. Came out a few years ago now. And these are the Windbound mitts. And this pattern was on my list of, like, it was one of my favorite patterns from this book and definitely one that I wanted to knit for sure. And so as the yarn, I used some Uist wool yarn that was gifted to me. It is called Aster, and it is a fingering weight yarn, but I held it double. And I'm gonna try them on to show you because they're really nice. I also went down a needle size for this one because I wanted them to be really snug. Again, it's rib, so it's fine. You know, you've got a lot of wiggle room. And so they're like this, but you can roll the top if you want to, which I would, I guess. Again, I finished them a bit too late to be able to wear them this winter, but I'll wear them in the autumn and winter. The intention behind making these, other than they're very pretty and I want them, is I intend for those to keep in my art bag when I go and paint outside and it's a bit cold. So I need my fingers, obviously, to hold my brushes and everything, but I can have the rest of my hand warm. And yeah, it's a very easy pattern. It's knit in the round. The ribbing makes it quite nice and snug without being too tight. And then it's got a little detail of cable on the top of the hand. The chart is the same for both hands in the pattern, but I decided to mirror them. And I like it. I think it looks very nice. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about this. It was a quick project. It was easy. And it was at a time where I had maybe a little bit more brain power. I was able to deal with the cable, but again, it was super easy. Basically ribbing in the round, so same as making socks or something like that. So yeah, I'm really pleased with them and I'm looking forward to wearing them. All right, moving on to my works in progress. now that I feel a bit better and I have more energy and that I am actually excited about my knitting again, I have cast on quite a few things. And I'm going to start with the biggest one in one of my largest project bags, which is a sweater. And I will show you the pattern in it. I'll show you what I made. This is a sweater where the pattern is in this Laine magazine. This is Winter 2025, issue 23. And it is called the Snowfield sweater, I think. Yeah, and this is what it looks like. And I really like it. I don't buy every single one of the Laine magazines. I usually buy them when there's a few patterns in it that I really like, and I really like this one. So I think this was maybe the one pattern that got me interested in this issue, and then I found other patterns I really liked. So here's what I've made so far. So I've got the body, or most of the body. I still need to do a little bit, but I'm waiting because I'm dealing with a couple of dye lots for yarn, and so I have to, I don't know, be a bit more strategic, I guess. I've done the collar, and then I've done one sleeve, and I need to try it on now, but I think I'm at the point where I need to start doing the cuff. And yeah, it's really, really nice. I'm not knitting on it as much right now because it is mohair and DK, I think, and it's also really hot. So, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to being able to wear it in the winter. Yep. And the yarn that I'm using is Durirum Natura. It's what the pattern used. So this one is Gilead, and I'm using the shade Boulot, which is a very light warm gray. And then I'm using Beanies, which is Durirum Natura's mohair, in the shade Orja, which is kind of like their off-white. I think they have a white that's much wider or cooler or something. So I'm using those together. I think the pattern uses Isair as the mohair, but I think they also wrote or designed that pattern before Durirum Natura had come out with their own mohair. So yeah, so I'm just using those. I had the Gilead before for another project, which I ended up changing my mind. So I just had to buy the mohair. I already had a couple of skeins of the mohair, so I had to buy some more. And that's where I'm dealing with two dye lots, the two dye lots of the mohair. And there's actually a little bit of a difference. I find from past experience that Durirum is really, really good at consistency across their dye lots. I have more than I need of that, but I have a couple of skeins of the Gilead in a different dye lot, which I'm not going to need to use, so it's good. But if I put them together close or next to each other, I can't tell the difference. However, in the case of the mohair, I could tell the difference a little bit, so I've been doing some alternating skeins in some places just in case. I think when paired with the Gilead, I don't actually think a change in the dye lot of the mohair would have shown, but just to be safe, I've been alternating skeins a little bit at the bottom of the body, and yeah, I've written detailed notes because I'm not working on this super regularly right now, and I'm really worried that I'm going to forget. But yes, I am making size 2, which is, I guess, my size as per pattern. It's on 6mm needles, or I'm using 6 and maybe the pattern says 5.5, something like that. It's quite large needles, so it actually goes quite fast once you get going. And even though I guess the sleeves have some cables, so you have to pay attention a bit more, but the front has a column of cables, but the back doesn't really, and the cables are quite spaced out, like the actual row where you cross are quite spaced out, so it's not completely mindless. Obviously, it's not stuck in the round, but it goes quite quickly because you only have to remember to do a cable every so many rows. So it's been really enjoyable. I have one modification that I made is that I inverted the direction of the cable on the front. And I think in the, let me show you the sleeve, in the central column of the sleeve, not the sort of wavy bit on the side, but the central column, just because I find that my cables are just neater if I cross them one way as opposed to the other. So I decided to do that, but that's not really a major modification. I did have to redo the color a few times because I had to go down needle sizes. First of all, it was just too loose, and so it was kind of like flopping around my neck, and I don't want it to strangle me, but I also don't want it to like flop around my neck. And also the length indicated in the pattern made it go really, really high. Like, I don't know, it was weird and uncomfortable. So I took it back a couple of times, and I went down in needle sizes. I think I went down to, I think I was supposed to use a 5 millimeters, and I went down to a 4, maybe even a 3.5, I don't remember. And which is a shame. I don't know if I wrote it actually, because yes, a 4 millimeter, okay, because I need to know that for the cuffs. I'm glad I wrote it down. And then I took it down by like a good third of the height that the pattern recommends, because it was just, I don't know if I have a short neck or my gauge is off, or I know my gauge is a little bit off, but not enough that I'm concerned about it. I think it's all going to block out. So yeah, I really like it. I think it's such a beautiful pattern. It's a lot simpler than it looks. It's very effective, I think. And I'm really, really enjoying it. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to wear it this winter. I mean, I think it's going to be deep winter because it's oversized, like top neck, like long neck, turtleneck, or whatever it's called, DK and mohair, very thick. So yeah, I think it's going to have to be quite cold for me to wear it, but I am looking forward to it. All right, moving on to the next project. Let me see. I'm going to grab this one, and this is one that I think I actually showed you in my last episode a month ago, because it's a bit of a long-term project that I don't intend to finish quickly necessarily. It's something that I'm happy to carry on working on it through the year, and it is this Advent scarf. And it's basically a tube. It's nothing complicated. It's very mindless, and it's just a stripy tube. So you start here with, I'm so out of practice, I don't even remember the name of it. Like a Joji's Magic cast on or something like that. And then you start knitting in the round, and you keep knitting in the round until you reach the end. And the yarn that I'm using for that is an advent calendar by Zakami from 2024, I think, because I didn't get one in 2025. And it's beautiful yarn. It's baby llama, I think. Yes, it's 100% baby llama, fingering weight. It's incredibly soft, and I don't know, this yarn was quite precious to me, and I was trying to figure out a good pattern for it, but also I didn't want to have any leftovers, because a lot of Advent patterns, they don't use the full 20 grams of your mini skeins, and so you have plenty of leftovers, and basically you have to find another project to use the leftovers. And I don't know, I just wanted something where I could use all the yarn. And then I found this pattern, which really is very easy, and I thought that was a good idea. So I just reordered the skeins. I think it came as a fade in a box, but I just reordered them in a way that I liked, and I'm just knitting away in the round. It's very nice. It's very mindless for those nights where my brain is too tired, but I still want to knit something. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. I've done, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. This is my 14th color, and I have the rest here, so I have another 10. So I guess this is between 12 and 13. So this to this is about half of it. So it's going to be quite long. It's going to be very warm. It has a good weight to it as well. It's super drapey and it's incredibly soft. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's not necessarily maybe the color palette that I would go or that I would choose for myself, but I quite like it. And I find that it's a really good use of this advent calendar. So I'm really pleased with that. I am working on 3mm needles. I think the pattern calls for maybe 4, but I found that I like the fabric that it creates, so I chose that. I also think that because I'm using smaller needles, I cast on more stitches than the pattern, but honestly, you can do whatever you want, just cast on how many stitches you need to have the width that you want, and then just knit in the round, and then stop when you're done, when you have a length that you like, or when you run out of yarn. And yeah, so really pleased with that. I'm gonna keep working on that. And yeah, it'll be finished when it'll be finished. This is not necessarily the projects that has the highest priority for me right now. It's just nice to have. Also, it's grown quite big right now, so it's not really a project that I can carry and have out and about with me. So it's something that I work on at home when that's what I feel like working on, and it'll be finished when it'll be finished. I'm about halfway, or just over halfway through, as I was saying, so I think it will be finished before the end of the year. I'd like it to be, but that's really my only sort of vague deadline, so yeah, no rush. Speaking of projects with higher priority, the projects that I'm prioritizing at the moment is actually quite new. I cast it on a couple of days ago, and it is a shawl, and the reason why I'm prioritizing it at the moment is because I would like to have it for an event that I'm going to at the end of the summer. So yeah, I've got plenty of time, but yeah. So the shawl is the Botanist shawl by Locatelli. I've never ever knit one of her patterns for some reason, even though I know they're all very popular and everyone, like, it's almost as if I said I never knit anything from Petite Knit, you know. But yeah, for some reason I never really knit any of her pattern, but I saw someone post about this on Instagram recently and I really loved it, and I was like, oh, I have the perfect yarn for it. So here we are. I cast it on a couple of days ago, so that's all I have. But it's basically gonna be like a leaf shape, like this, and then it's garter stitch, and then it's gonna have sections of lace. So yeah, it's been quite fun. It's garter stitch right now, so it's quite mindless, but I think even the lace is not very difficult. The yarn that I'm using is yarn that I've had in my stash for quite a long time, but I couldn't find the right project for it. And this is what it looks like. It is Blacker Yarn. It's a British yarn company. Their base is Woodland 4-ply. Although it's maybe more like a sport, I would say. It is, where is it written? 320 meters per 100 grams. 100% pure new wool. And the color that I have is called Clover. And it's this beautiful muted cool green, and I bought it when it came out like a few years ago. I bought those two skeins because it was a limited edition and I really fell in love with the color, and it's been sitting in my stash this whole time because I couldn't figure out what to do with it until recently. This shawl is perfect, so yeah, I'm really excited about it. I will keep working on this very regularly because, like I said, I would like to have it finished because also for this event I would like to make myself that bag from Petite Knit. I don't remember the name of it. I'll put it on the screen, but it's the one that you make, if you just bear with me a second. It's the one that you make with this Japanese cotton yarn from Easier. Is that Easier? Yeah. I think it came out a couple of years ago and was quite popular, to the point that like a lot of yarn shop ran out of this yarn. But yeah, it's been sitting here again on my shelf for quite a while, and I really would like to make it for the summer. So yeah, I'm gonna get a bit further along with the shawl, and then I'll start the bag. Yeah. All right. Moving on to my fourth and final work in progress. And it's just a pair of socks, because it's always nice to have a pair of socks on the needles. And I haven't made a lot of progress. I cast it on to go to knit night, because I didn't really have, at the time I only had my big stripy scarf and my big sweater, so it wasn't really convenient to take this out. But it's just a pair of socks. I'm going to do 2x2 ribs all the way down. I'm going to make the leg quite long so I can fold it. I really like that, the look of it, and I find it very warm and comfortable that way. And yeah, I really like the color of it. It's very autumnal. I don't have the band for the yarn anymore. I don't know where it went. I don't even know if I ever had it. I remember that I bought it in a shop called Chandler's Co, I think, in North Berwick, which is not too far from Edinburgh. It's a bit of it's a yarn shop, but it's also, they have all other kinds of crafts, I think. Again, it was a really long time ago, so I don't know. It's probably changed right now. And yeah, I seem to remember, although I'm not entirely sure, that it is a BFL nylon sock base. But again, I don't know. It's a figuring weight, it's a sock yarn, but I don't remember exactly. But it's just very pretty. So I'm making it into a pair of socks. Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm a bit all over the place, but it actually feels really nice to be recording a podcast again and showing you all my knits, and it's making me feel very excited about knitting again, which I'd lost that feeling for a little bit, and I was really sad. But now I'm just like, oh, I want to knit all the things, and all my yarn is so pretty, and I also want to buy more yarn. I'm going to try not to go that way because I have a lot, but yeah, I mean, actually I did buy some yarn, which is my next section, is the acquisitions. I only have 2 things, and it's in April I went to the Woolly Good Gathering, which was really nice. It's a really great event to go to, that I enjoy going to every year, and then I've got some friends who fly over every year to go attend, and then so it's really nice to see them there. And yeah, it was a really good time, and so I bought a couple of things. The first one is this little skein of alpaca rose yarn from the Border Mill. I already had some of that, or not that color. I had another one that I bought some time ago, and I'm going to show you actually. I made a little Sophie scarf out of it. It looks like this. It's your basic mini Sophie scarf. And I actually really enjoy wearing this a lot, especially now when it's on the days when it's a bit cooler, because it's quite a cool yarn, I would say. It's 50% alpaca and 50% rose fiber. It behaves a little bit like a linen in that when it's wet, when you wash it or whatever, it feels a bit stiff, but then it relaxes when it dries, and it's incredibly soft and incredibly drapey. But because it's 50% plant fiber, it's not as warm as like a pure wool, which makes it really good for spring and summer. The color is, it says special edition, and the color is 2209B, I guess. It's a nice warm salmony pink. And yeah, I intend to do another one of those little Sophie scarves with that. And then the other thing that I ordered, Ballyhoura fiber was there at the Woolly Good. They came all the way from Ireland, which is really exciting. And because they're in like the Republic of Ireland, so in Europe, or like the European Union, so it's a bit tricky for us in the UK to order stuff over from Europe because politics. But they were there, so that was really great. And so I couldn't resist getting a skein of yarn from them. It's this beautiful like colorway. I can't wait to see how it knits up. It is made of 100% Wensleydale wool. It's a DK weight yarn, 230 meters per 100 grams. And yeah, I think I want to make kind of a shawl of some sort, like a mini shawl or something like that. But I don't know which one yet. So if you have any recommendations for a one skein of DK or like a mini shawl pattern that uses just one skein of DK, keeping in mind that it seems to be quite variegated. So I think a pattern that's as plain as possible would be best, like maybe a little bit of lace, but nothing very textured or nothing completely lace. I think I just want the colors to shine. So yeah, let me know, but I'll keep looking. But if you have something that just pops in your mind, just let me know. But it's so pretty. I really like it. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with color. I think I was mentioning it in some past episode from God knows when, that I'm having a lot more fun with color now that my hair's gone grey, because I feel like I can wear a lot more things. It's almost more neutral than when I was dyeing it red, and so it's been really fun, and I'm enjoying like using yarn like this, or like the bright yellow that I was showing you for the hat, or yeah, it's been fun. So yeah. All right, I think this is all the knitting chat that I've got. I am going to move on to just chatting quickly about some of the books that I've read. I've actually read quite a lot over the last few months, like a lot more than usual. I'm not a fast reader at all. I read a bit every day, but I'm not a fast reader. So I usually read about, I don't know, 25 books in a year or something like that, but I'm already at 20 books this year, and we're only halfway through. So yeah, it's very, I don't know, it's not a race of like how many books you should read, but it means that I've enjoyed reading a lot, so I'm really happy with that. I have my little reading journal here, so I'm going to tell you what I've been reading. Obviously I'm not going to go over everything that I've been reading because we would be there for quite a long time, but I am going to tell you what I'm reading right now, which is called, I put it on the screen because I read on an e-reader, so it's not, I don't really have an actual book or a cover to show you. But right now, I just started last night actually, The Frozen People by Elly Griffiths. It's the first book in the Ali Dawson mystery series, and I actually saw the second book, which must just have come out at the bookshop the other day, and it looked really interesting, and then I looked at it and then realized that was actually a first book, so I'm going to start reading with the first book. And basically the idea is that this woman is a detective, and she works for a unit that solves cold cases, but they solve really cold cases and travel back through time to do so. So I don't know, it sounded like a really interesting take on your crime novel or historical crime novel. So yeah, I've only read about, I don't know, like 30-40 pages, but I'm really enjoying it, so I'm looking forward to reading the rest. And if I do really enjoy it, I'll read like the next books. I'm also reading right now a bit of non-fiction, which is very unlike me. I don't usually read a lot of non-fiction, but this has been on my list for quite a while, and I actually have the book this time. It's called The Notebook, A History of Thinking on Paper, and I'm only a little bit in, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I just find that sometimes like history books like this are a bit difficult to read because they're not, I don't know, they're very maybe academic or maybe a bit dull, I guess, in a way. Like it's a bit hard to keep focusing on, or it feels like too much like homework for me, I guess, when I was in school. But this one is actually really, really good. The author has a very good way of keeping you interested, and I really love like journals and notebooks and things I always have. I've always like had all sorts of notebooks for all sorts of things, and now even more so that I'm working that I'm an illustrator, I have a lot of sketchbooks that I use a lot, and it's very interesting to hear sort of like the history of the notebook, and because you don't really think of a time where, I mean, it's hard to imagine, I think, a time where people didn't have notebooks or paper readily available to write on, and you're like, how did you do things? And he goes into detail about all of that in this book, and it's been really, really interesting. So yeah. And then maybe another book that I read that I really enjoyed. I actually recently read the newest Beth O'Leary book. So those are more romance, and she releases a new one every spring. And this one is called The Name Game, and it was so good. It's not really a cheesy romance. It's not a smutty romance, but I don't know. Like, I've read her books from the start. The first one she came out with was called The Flat Share, and I think they made a TV series out of it. So maybe you've heard of it. And then she's come out with one every year, and they're always so good. There's always like a plot twist that you just do not see coming at all, and it's always really great. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and I would recommend it, and I'm looking forward to next spring and her next book. So yeah, I think this is where I am going to leave you. Thank you so much if you have watched until the end. Like I said, I hope to be back more regularly. I am being very mindful of my energy levels and not burning out again, and illustration, because it's a new job and a new career for me. It is there's quite a lot to do, which I am enjoying, but it's also, it requires a lot of time and energy, so I'm very mindful of that. But yeah, I'm really enjoying my knitting again. I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm enjoying it even more because it's not connected in any way to my work anymore. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to podcast more regularly. Once again, I'm really sorry to everybody who was waiting to purchase stitch markers from me. I have closed the shop, and yeah, I can't do it anymore. I need to do just the one job. It's keeping me busy enough, and I need to have a bit of a better work-life balance, to the extent that that's a thing these days. Who knows? But yeah, I just needed to slow down and make some ultimately good but somewhat difficult decisions. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please leave a comment or like the video, or subscribe if you aren't subscribed already. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.